the internet! It is Saturday the 29th of June 2024 and welcome back to the channel. Want to tell you the final update to the pitch saga? Am I going to call it a saga? No, I don't think it's a saga. It's a situation. The pitch sitch. The pitch sitch. We'll go with that. I'm going to give you the update to the pitch sitch. This is the penultimate, the ultimate conclusion to this story. There is nothing further from this. Well, there is something further. The actual scenario or the situation that the pitch was for, that's coming. But as far as the pitch goes, there's nothing more I've got for you after this stream today. Safe to say, spoiler alerts, no one is on board. So my pitches? Yeah, that's right. My pitches failed. So I guess to start at the very beginning, for those that don't know, I'll probably play both pitches as well at some point just to refresh you all. But for those that don't know, coming up in late August, maybe pushed back now, but I'll talk about that in a moment as well. By the way, this is a YouTube stream, so if anyone's watching on Kick or DLive, come on over to YouTube if you want to chat. We're doing a YouTube one today. So, yeah, in late August, what's that? Seaweed. What's that red? No, that's... I don't have anything red. Looks like red seaweed. In late August, my friend Marty and I are taking GoVan on a pretty epic adventure. We're driving from Sydney Harbour through the centre of Australia, or across Australia into the centre, to a place called Uluru, Ayers Rock. It's a big red rock in the middle of this country. I've never been there. Marty's never been there. It's a very spiritual place. It's a place that people come from all over the world to see, and it's in my backyard, and I've never been. I used to live in Adelaide for many, many, many years, and I never went. I went as far as the Flinders Ranges, and that was freaking beautiful, but that's as far as I've been that way. So I pitched it to Marty, and he said, yeah, man, I'm dead set keen. When do you want to do it? We were talking about this like over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And we factored in considering each other's times and whatnots, and it worked out that late August would be the best time to go. I also inquired with a friend of mine, Luke Campbell, who's out there, you'll see in the pitch, and he suggested late August as the best time to go to the centre of Australia. So with that in mind, I decided, well, I was considering, why don't we live stream it? You know, why don't we live stream this epic mission? Wouldn't that be rad? The whole world loves to come to Australia. Well, now you can through my eyes on a live stream. And so I was thinking about what would I need to be able to do that. Now, you guys have all seen me do my streaming from Stevan. We're yet to do a streaming from GoVan. We haven't done that yet because I've been faffing around and taking my time. But I thought, well, I got this van. We can add Starlink mobility internet to the van to make sure that we can live stream from everywhere. It's stupidly expensive though, stupidly expensive. Yo, hey Flo, how you doing, man? Stream looks solid over here. On Kick, it's cutting out every 15 or 20 seconds. Oh wow, that's no good. I don't know, sometimes Kick does that. Yeah, Kick doesn't like the, because this is a YouTube stream, my keyframe is one interval. And I don't think Kick likes that. So I'm not really fussed. It's not a Kick stream. It's a YouTube stream. But thanks for letting me know. Charlotte, how you doing? How you doing, Charlotte? Good to see you. Yeah, so the idea was to get a brand behind us to help with the cost involved in doing this trip. Number one, buying Starlink, right? Buying Starlink mobility and a monthly subscription. Holy shit, that's expensive, right? For the mobility, not the roaming one, the mobility one, the real expensive one. Expensive. Then, of course, fuel out to the rock, Australia. I've seen people stating unleaded fuel for $3 a litre. Let me just tell you right now, it's about $1.80, $1.70, $1.75 a litre. So it's jacked up double. That's going to be crazy if that's the case, but I'll obviously check that. Anyway, so I pitched this idea, or I wanted to pitch this idea to different brands to get them involved. Now, I came out on stream and talked about it, and you guys helped me to put together a lovely little pitch video, and then we pitched this. And the idea was, well, my idea essentially was to pitch it to the H3 podcast, now known as the H3 show. Used to be known as the H3. H3, then H3 Podcast. Now it's just called the H3 Show. So that was my idea. My idea to get those guys on board. It seems like they've got a big Australian audience, and they always talk about Australians. They've always mentioned Australia. They've never been out here. And I figured, hey, what will be better than to tie myself into a podcast that already has a love for Australia, already has an Australian audience participating. They're LA based, so they're American, but they've got a big Australian slant. And I figured, why not tie into that? And then because I'll be live all the time, they can draw from my streams and showcase highlights. We could have call-ins and discussions and whatnot. And what I was asking for was $5,000 to pay for Starlink and fuel. And well, the update is, and I guess there's two updates. There's three, actually. The first update is, and I said this, if this happened, I'd be content. It looks like H3 Podcast have seen my pitch. And I can verify that by showing it to you guys, that I uploaded this video, which I'm going to run for you here as well, but I uploaded it to my YouTube channel unlisted. And the only person, or the only people that I sent that link to was the H3 Podcast. And we sat there, this is like 7 weeks ago, we sat on stream and I was like, you know what? It's been on 0 views, right? It's been on 0 views forever. That sucks because I took the time to make the pitch. I emailed it to them. All I wanted them to do was to see it. And lo and behold, they did see it. It went up by 1 view. I can prove that to you now by going over to my YouTube studio. Here we have a zoomed in view of my studio. Yo, Elsa, how you doing, man? Good to see you, buddy. So here is the pitch unlisted for the H3 crew. Unlisted, monetization off, restrictions none. Uploaded on May 9. So now it's June 29. And there it is, folks. 1 view. 1 view. You can see that, right? You can clearly see that 1 view there. So that is basically, that is essentially proof that someone at the H3 crew did see the pitch. Now, I said I'd be happy with that, and I am happy with that. Of course, it would have been nice to receive an email for them to say, hey, we watched it and we're not interested. That would have been even nicer, but the fact that that count went from 0 to 1, at least they watched it. Nobody responded to me. Nobody replied to me. Nobody contacted me. Nobody made any attempt to say, you idiot, we're not going to touch that. But at least they watched it. So with that in mind, once we were getting to a point where we weren't sure if they were even going to see it, you guys said to me, well, why don't you pitch to individual companies in Australia? So there are other brands that you could be pitching to. And so we made a list of about 12 different brands that I should approach. And I approached all of them. And I'm here to report that as of last week, as of this week, what is it, Saturday, as of late last week, as of time that hasn't happened yet, as of late last week, I was in discussions with a pretty reputable outdoor adventure company brand in Australia called Kickass Products. We say kick ass, but it's actually spelled kick ass. Kickass Products. And I've been in quite a lot of conversation with one of their members there in their branding and what does she call herself? The affiliate branding marketing manager. Anyway, we went back and forward, and I was using one person on my streams to help me. That person doesn't need to be named, but they know who they are. They were helping me to write these replies and whatnot. They were asking for very specific details. They asked me a lot about extended reach, potential, what I would like to do. If they couldn't afford to pay what I asked for, could we come to a compromise? And could I do product reviews? If they loaded me up with their gear, could I make short form vertical videos for them to use across their socials? And I said, I can do all that. Absolutely. I have all the gear and the skills and the know-how to do that. But predominantly, I just want to live stream the journey. But if it means I've got to sort of work around and do these extra things to get the endorsement, I'm happy to do that. And so we agreed on that. She went away and then pitched this further up the chain. And yeah, the spoiler alert is here. She said no eventually. And the reason she said no was because my overall reach, so my subscriber numbers, my view counts are not high enough, which does suck, because if you look at my DLive, for example, and you look at my YouTube channel, they're quite good. The subscriber count on my YouTube channel, 27,000, looks pretty good. 1 or 2 views on a live stream looks lousy, but the number looks big. Same with DLive, 8,000 followers, 4 people watching a stream. Kick is a bit different. It's a new platform, blah, 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 400 or 300 followers and a few views. Basically, she just said to me, we loved what you did, and I'll show you, look, let me show you the pitch to Kickass. So what we've got here is, these are all the companies I pitched to, and I made individual pitch videos. I'll show you one of them. I'll show you the Kickass one. So this is to 5 Hour Energy. This is to Adventure Kings. This is to Aerogard. This is to Mr. Beast with Feastables. This is to G Fuel. This is to Kickass. This is to Kick, the platform. This is to Mitch Dowd, a clothing company. This is to On Running, Swedish footwear company. This is to Red Bull. This is to REI, an outdoor adventure company in the States. This is to Snowies. This is an adventure company in Australia. This is to Starlink themselves. You know who they are. This is to Tourism Northern Territory. Now, as of today, all of these have had 0 views. So all of these companies received my email and didn't even look at what I sent them, which I think is fucking lame, to be honest. But they didn't look at them. The only one that looked at it, oddly enough, was Kick. You see it right here, pitch Kick, 1 view. Kick actually watched the pitch, kind of like the H3 podcast. They didn't respond, but at least they watched it. And then Kickass Products watched it 7 times. So what that told me, and this is before we were really discussing it, but what that told me, that number right there, 7, that told me that the person who I initially pitched to, she then watched it at least a couple of times and then sent it to somebody. They watched it, sent it to somebody else. They all watched it. That's how the conversation sort of sparked up, and that's how we got talking. And I'm a little upset that it came down to numbers only, because I did include this in my, I sent a whole bunch of PDFs and documents and whatnot to her, but what I suggested was, even though my viewer numbers aren't great, and this is a bit lame to assume, but what I'm assuming will happen is, once we get going and the platforms that I'm streaming on start seeing what I'm creating, aka outdoor scenes in Australia, live streaming through Uluru and whatnot, they'll promote that, right? Won't they? Shouldn't they? Will they? Hopefully they will. They'll see that it's good content. They'll be like, okay, we'll put this on the front page. And so the views that I get now on my streams aren't representative of what could happen when we're out there in the wild doing the thing. But ultimately, they all said, or she, and on behalf of Kickass Products, said no, because your numbers are too small. So I failed in the pitch. You guys succeeded in the sense of, we got this far, and having a brand respond, a good brand respond, and have a discourse open around the idea of giving me money to do something, that's pretty rad. But in the end, it fell over and we don't have that backing. So I always said this to you guys. I said, I'm going to make this happen regardless of whether we get a brand involved or not. So you guys know that I've been working a ton this year and last year, pretty much since New Zealand. I've been working flat out to buy the van and get it ready for this trip. Well, I went ahead and just bought Starlink myself. I just figured, you know what? If no one's going to help me, no brand's going to come on board, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Like I've done the whole way along on my channel. I've made all the steps, and I've put all the investment in to make something for you guys to enjoy. Like I did with going to New Zealand and spending a year or 8 months over there streaming. I did all that myself. Well, I had Teradek on board, but that's a different story. They didn't give me money, but so what I did was, and there's a funny story to this too, because what I did was, one night I was just on this Starlink community group on Facebook, and I was just contemplating do I spend the money on the real expensive one, like the $3,000 dish, They got one for $597, but they've also got this mobile one that's $3,400 or whatever, and it's meant to be used on the ocean, and it's meant to be this and meant to be that. And I was like, fuck, $4,000? Do I spend $4,000? And I'm on this forum or this community group, and someone, it's coincidental, but it was pretty rad. Someone posted up a thread saying, I just came back from doing a lap of Australia with Starlink Roam on the standard Gen 3 dish, which is the current model of the regular one. So when Starlink first came out, it was a circular dish and it moved with the orientation to the sky. Then they updated to this flat dish, which didn't move, but it had all the mixed arrays and all the technology that made it move without moving. This was the first flat dish. Flatty Dishy McDishface, I think. Well, that doesn't matter. But anyway, then they updated to the generation 3 of that dish. And someone just went around Australia, pretty much the circuit that we're going to be doing, and used it. And they posted up without me even asking. They just posted and they're like, this thing's rad. I've been streaming without any issues. And I'm like, well, shit me. So I was there and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm buying it. And so I bought it on the spot from a retail store in Australia. The reason I bought it from retail and not from Starlink is because if you buy from retail, you can install it and then switch it on in the sense of pay for your service. If you buy from Starlink, your service begins immediately once you've paid for it. So your first calendar month is already rolling before you've even got the thing, as far as I'm aware, or it might be from when you first turn it on. But either way, you can buy it from retail and then activate it later on the Starlink website. So I wanted to buy it from retail. Funny story is I paid for it on a Sunday night and $597. I go in, I bought it from a store called Officeworks. I go into Officeworks the next day, I pick it up, all good, no worries, come home. I'm stoked, right? I'm like, I felt bad about not getting a brand involved, but I felt good about getting the next step of the process down, getting this Starlink thing. I was like, fuck yeah, I got Starlink. This is going to be wicked. So I took a photo of it and I went to post it on my Discord. I posted it on my community group here on YouTube. Then I went into the Facebook group where I saw that message. I was going to thank the guy and I went to post it. And before I go to post it, I see the next thread that's fresh and it's like, Starlink Generation 3 dish price drop from $597 to $350. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, JB Hi-Fi are selling it for $350. Mind you, I literally walked in with it under my arm, paying $597, and I was fucking livid. I was like, what? I just spent $600 on this thing, and now you can get it from $350. I was like, okay, I'm turning around and I'm taking this thing back. So I drive back to the store. It's about 25 minutes from here. I drive back to the Officeworks store. I go straight to the JB Hi-Fi where they've got them for $350, thinking they're going to go real quick, right? How many have they got? I actually asked the girl and she said, we've only got 4 of them. And I was like, okay, fuck. All right. Well, I've got one right here that I've already bought for $600 or $597. Fuck it. I'm buying that. Give me. And then I thought, well, hold on a second. If you buy that and you've got 2, someone's going to miss out. 2 people are going to miss out essentially, and you're hoarding one of them. So I thought, well, why don't I call Officeworks first and ask them if they can refund me the difference between $597 and $350. Figured they still get the sale and they price match. That's their price match guarantee. So I call them from JB Hi-Fi. I'm in JB Hi-Fi. I'm on my phone. I'm like, Officeworks, I've got your Starlink under my arm, which I paid for last night. I picked up today. Today you've dropped the price. That was convenient. Thanks for that. But either way, are you guys going to give me a refund of the amount? Because I've got it right here for $350. And by the way, I look on their website and no shit, Officeworks have also reduced it to $350. So I'm like, man, you guys Scrooged me, right? You've changed the price overnight, and here it is. I come in and pick mine up, and nobody said, dude, we know you paid for it last night, but in the time that it's taken for you to get here overnight today, it's actually cheaper. Here's a refund. No, nobody did that. They would just Scrooge me. And they said, we can't do that, sir. We cannot just give you a partial refund. I'm like, why not? don't you have a price match guarantee? And they're like, no, we can't do it. I said, can you put a manager on? Manager comes on. Yeah, we can't do that. Sorry. I'm like, okay. So I buy the one from JB Hi-Fi, and then I go back to Officeworks and I say, I want to refund this. I don't want to have this at all. And so then they refunded the full price, and I gave them back their one, and I came back home with the one from JB Hi-Fi for $350. And then I get on the website to post up my saga, my story. Turns out it was a nationwide reduction in price from Starlink itself. Starlink Australia, end of financial year sale, from $597 to $350. Officeworks knew about that happening at midnight, yet they still took my money to the full at 10 p.m. on the 10 p.m. 2 hours before midnight. They took my full money and didn't offer me any rebate. Right, that's bad. That's bad. So I made a video. It's on my YouTube channel. That's the saga. Here's the Starlink. I haven't even opened it yet, because what I've got to do, I've got to mount it to the roof of GoVan. And to do that, I want to make certain that I can still drive in under the carport. So I've got to use this box as like a dummy dish. And should we just open it now? I guess we should open it. I'm just saying, nobody does boxes like Apple, right? Apple have this down pat. Look at this shit. I just pulled the tab. Starlink, at least you tried. Yeah, once this is... So I've got to get a mounting kit that's still going to fit under the garage. So I'm going to use this box as a dummy to put on my roof and just measure the gaps and stuff. It's a pretty tight squeeze back there. Does that slide out? Watch me drop this thing and break it. What a weird... I'll go to this side as well then. Pull the tab skis. Am I the only one that this happens to? That's like opening up a bag of muesli as well, right? It never works. Now you're going to cut yourself. And unboxing ASMR, Elsa. Why doesn't that flap? What the? Dude, there's one on this side as well. There's 3 sides to this thing. Okay, ready? Is this gonna work? That one almost worked. All right. In hindsight, that probably would have been the easiest way to do it if I had have known that's what you do. You're going to get a little shadowing there. Here is the dish anyway. I guess I'll get that out of the way. Put all that on the floor. But that's basically what's going to mount on the roof of GoVan. It's quite thin. Actually, this thing comes out somehow, because the mount goes in there. But it's basically that. It's about, including the mount I've got to buy, it's about 5 centimeters tall. So it should still fit under the carport. So yeah, I did it. Avery, how you doing? Thanks, Avery. Congrats. Thank you. Yeah, so I did it. Let me take a quick break here and I'll show you both pitches. I'll show you the pitch that went to the H3 podcast, and then I'll show you the pitch that I did, because I made individual pitches for every company. So this one is the one that went to the H3 podcast. I'll be with you in the chat, but enjoy. G'day Dan, Ethan, Ela, and the rest of the H3 crew, should this make its way through to you all. My name's Benon Julius William Otto Kerbsch. I'm a massive H3 podcast fan from way back, and after many years touring Europe as a photographer with a rock band, I pivoted my skills toward content creation. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I have a YouTube channel called Gives a Minute. Viewers on my channel enjoy a variety of content, including surfing, didn't know what to do there. Looked up to my left and just saw a massive wall of water. Whiskey reviews. And the last time there was a matte black bottle was for the 160th birthday. Call-ins.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna straighten you out. I'm gonna straighten this up for you so you understand what's really going on.
Music guessing games. We are looking for Pinback from the Some Voices EP. And most notably, my IRL streams from various Aussie landmarks. Hey, this is as far back as I can go. Oh, wow, that was huge. Pretty certain that's all we needed. Where are you going after Piedmont? We're going back to the hotel. With that hat on, you look a bit like Bill Burr. Now, I know who Bill Burr is from watching the H3 podcast. Oh, I've got to get out of the way. There's a little peak. Look at that little peaky of light. Oh, that looks rad. Whoopsie! Like an old man trying to return super to Delhi. The Sydney Harbour Bridge, folks. Look at this. Sunlight's lovely cascading on the side of the bridge. Last year, I spent 9 months live streaming across the ditch in New Zealand, up mountains, beside lakes, in towns, and always live to my viewers. We call them the givers. And that's a good question, dude. It is 9 minutes past 5 in the PM. It's June 2022. What time is it in Australia? Well, hang on, I can work that out. Time is the most valuable currency because we only have a certain amount of it. Someone wants to go and play tennis? Ping pong? Featuring Christopher Cornell before he died. There goes some people on the way back down. Good to see you, good to have you, good to know you. Look at this beautiful lighting here. That looks wonderful. It was so good, man. Out there in the beautiful New Zealand landscape, I felt awakened. And being able to share that live with my viewers inspired me despite the odds. It's gonna be hammering down all night as well. So we're gonna have a lot of snow here. Just a heads up, this is car park 4 where I picked you up from. So this afternoon when you need to come back, tell the driver car park 4 and everything will be good. Cool. Upon arrival back here in Australia, it dawned on me that I've never been to the spiritual center of this land. It's a place in the Northern Territory called Uluru. You know, that massive red rock smack dab in the middle of this country? It's often regarded as the most sacred place in Australia. And I cannot justifiably call myself an Aussie and never have been there. Humankind has been to the moon to study its geology, to find out as a species where we came from and where we're going. Native Australians believe that this rock may hold the answer to some of those questions. This is my mate, Martin Blaine Jeremy David Upham. Yeah, that's his real name. We're in the process of planning an epic mission to drive my van, GoVan, from Sydney Harbour to Uluru. Google Maps tells me that's a total of 1,700 miles, about 1.5 days drive, but we plan to take 8 weeks to really explore the journey there and everything around. A childhood friend of mine, Luke Campbell, has been living wild in the outback of Australia for well over 20 years now.
Important when you're catching camels to use extremely strong rope. What we're doing here is preparing the lasso. When you do this, you want your knot about halfway down.
He's part Aboriginal. He's walked across this country multiple times wrangling wild camels and living the nomad life. Just Google him. Google Luke Campbell Camel. That'll get you all you need to know about him. But a massive part of our journey will be to connect with Luke and have him show us the real Australia. Now, why am I pitching this to you guys? Well, I want to live stream the bulk of this journey to my YouTube channel. I've done similar in the past with a previous van and 4G internet. But I'll tell you, like, I'm just looking at that in full screen. It's a very cool looking van. So I got 4-wheel high and 4-wheel low. To play the devil's advocate, wouldn't they know that they were going to get caught? The stream looks better than what the real life looks. That is a big, fat huntsman. Look how long his legs are. Look at that. Oh, he's going down. Oh, he's going down. Look at that.
shit. Everybody's saying Australia sucks right now. If this is tyranny and this is shit, then I can deal with this.
When does soup look like an alien life form?
This time around, though, I'd like to add Elon Musk's Starlink mobility satellite connectivity to the mix to ensure that I can live stream from even the most remote places where 4G doesn't exist. But that's gonna be expensive. If the H3 podcast would come on board and contribute the cash for the Starlink mobility and our fuel, we could provide you a virtually untapped wealth of content direct from the road. Unique Australian content from 3 Aussie cobbers in the outback for you guys to do whatever you see fit with. I'm thinking call-ins, live crosses, unique Australian Q&As, tasks, whatever it is. We can talk the finer. There's going to be time zone issues, but we can talk the finer details out later on. So the figure I've come up with is about 8 grand Australian. Now I can provide a breakdown of how I came to this number, but that's about 5K US. That's what I'm asking for, 5K. What do you say? Come with us on the adventure of a lifetime. The time is now. And with your help and the technology we've got, we can share this rock with everybody who lives on this bigger rock we call planet Earth. What do you say? Either way, folks, thanks for taking the time to watch my pitch. Can I also just say I appreciate the hard work all of you go through to make the H3 podcast. It is, in my regard, and many Australians feel the same, the greatest podcast on the internet. I appreciate you all. Cheers, my dudes.
Thank you, thank you.
There you go. That's the pitch. That's the pitch that failed. But looking at this as I have been while that pitch was rolling, I'm stoked at it. This is amazing. This is what we've been waiting for in Australia anyway. Internet that doesn't rely on NBN. I mean, I've got fiber internet now here. I'm stoked. But that's this. If I didn't have fiber internet, this would be the internet. This big white, looks like a chalkboard. This chalkboard, you could write on it, you know. This is the internet. Has that got a coating on it? No, it doesn't. Pretty rad. But I think love the enthusiasm. Thanks, Paul. Cheers, man. I will show you the other pitch. Mind you, it's quite the same, but I've just reshot it specific for one particular brand. I remember Dale in my chat saying, you need to do individual pitches for each of these brands. You can't just do a general one. And I was like, nah, that's way too much work. I can't do that. And when I sat down and thought about it, I was like, you know what? He's dead set right. I've got to make individual pitches to each of these brands to make it pop. And that's probably why, or that could be why. Actually, yeah, it is why, because I was told that she said, we really liked your pitch video. My take on that is it's a bit long, right? It's a long pitch. People that are busy, such as the H3 podcast, they're very busy. In fact, they're celebrating, or they'd probably be finished. What time is it now? It's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They just did, if not finished just recently, very like an hour ago or so, they had their end of year sort of like live show. They do I think once a year or once every half a year, they do a live, it's always live, but they go and rent out a theater and do a production. And funnily enough, they're talking about taking that on the road. You know, maybe they could come down and do it down under. I've got the internet for you. If you want to do it with me, we can do it together. I'm just being stupid. Awesome pitch though. Thanks, Avery. Yeah, cheers. I mean, ultimately, the idea with this was to get money from a brand. And I said to myself way back when we started this idea, if it doesn't happen, I'm still going to do it. And so what's my backup? My backup is working my guts out and saving money to be able to pay that cost if a brand doesn't come on board. So that's what the Starlink is right now. It's me saying, we did what we could to get there with the brands and they said no. I'm still going to do it. Here's proof of it. I bought the Starlink. Late August, we're off. Now, I will update you there. And I don't want to speak too much on this because it's not my scenario. It's not my, how am I going to word this? So Marty's coming, but he might not be able to make the whole journey. Originally, I had said to Marty, we probably need between 8, maybe even 9 weeks to do this. Now, the reason why I suggested 8 to 9 weeks, I only want to travel a maximum of 400k per day. Hey Siri, what's 400 kilometers in miles?
400 kilometers is 248.55 miles.
About 250 miles. That's kind of the maximum I want to drive per day. Now, it's not because I don't like driving. I love driving. It's because I don't want to miss anything. If you get a map out and you go Sydney Harbour, 250 clicks, and 250 miles, and you look around that area, there's always shit to find. And you keep doing that all the way through to South Australia, a little bit of Victoria, up South Australia, up to the Rock. There's heaps of stuff to see, like heaps of stuff, like caves, wetlands, big escarpments, rocky outcrops, underground tunnels, lakes, lagoons, billabongs, just incredible. And all of it now can be streamed. We've got this, we can stream all of it. Before I was relying on the 4G. It's just so much to see. So I said to Marty, even like with that sort of like rough plotting on a map, we're going to need 8 weeks to get out there and get back. We're going to go down, sort of like I said, down, we're going to go out west across the Blue Mountains, down a little inland, down, get to the sort of tip of Victoria, just kind of nudge Victoria. I don't think we're going to, we'll give Victoria a bit of a, and then we'll keep on to South Australia. And I think we're going to go through Murray Bridge. James, if you're watching, we might be rocking up to your house. I'll let you know if we do. And then Flinders Ranges, then up Cooper Pedy kind of way, up that way. Hang around the Rock. There's heaps of stuff around the Rock. Then further north up to Tennant Creek, swing right, head inland through Queensland, Cloncurry, all that way down to, I guess, to the edge of Brisbane, then back down the centre, not the coast. It's not a coastal trip. We're going to stay inland. So what might happen, Marty was originally going to potentially be between jobs. He's going to quit his job and just say, I don't have a job, so let's go for as long as we need. And then when I get back, I'll be able to go and get another job because he's quite close to completing his studies. He's studying UX design, so he's going to be looking for a job in that field. Right now, he's working a job just to pay the bills with Postal Service, Australia Post. And he was saying, if we do it late August, I'll probably be able to quit my post job and we'll be able to do full 9 weeks, 8-9 weeks. As we've gotten closer to the date, and you guys know that he's repeatedly said he can't come down to discuss and talk, and we've kept putting it off and off. We're now doing a shared Google Doc where we're plotting out our course. So things are in motion, but Marty hasn't been here to sit down. We've still got the big Australia map that we haven't opened yet. So we haven't done what we said we would do, and it's the end of June. We got 2 more months to really get our shit together. Shit is coming together, but it's a very, very big shit. We need to compact that shit down. Wow, this is a shitty stream. And so it might come to play that Marty will have to fly out, possibly from Alice Springs, the centre of Australia, to get back, because he's now saying he might not be able to quit his job. He has had other issues. He had to move house, and there's been some personal issues and whatnot financially. See, it's not. I shouldn't even be saying this because it's not my story, but he's not here to say it, and I just wanted you guys to know what's happening. And I've said this before. Even if Marty doesn't come, I'm still going. Right? We're still doing this trip. It could be me going solo. It could be me going with someone else. I don't know, but I'm still doing it. But the way it's kind of wording now is, well, I'm going to be out on the road for between 8 to 9 weeks, and now we've got the rough plot already plotted out. You can see where we are at the end of each week. And by the way, my been looking at it like touring when we did the Tracer tours. I did a little bit of tour managing and advancing tours. I've been putting together a pseudo tour book, if you like, with where we are each day and where we should be the next day. And now it's going to be super flexible because we don't have to be anywhere really. Well, some of the places do require bookings, but it's going to be quite flexible. But at least it gives Marty a very clear visual kind of like, okay, well, I know I have to fly back to Sydney to start work on the 16th, whatever it is. So he has to depart from Alice Springs. And so therefore we've got to make sure we're there for him to get a flight, that kind of thing. What were your ideas for the upside to the brands? What were you offering content? Yeah. Did you not watch the pitch, Elsa? Did you not see it? It was in the pitch. I will play the other pitch. Good that you just popped in with that question. I will play the other pitch. It's virtually the same thing, Let me just go to studio mode here to cue it in. It's virtually the same thing, but it's tailored towards a particular brand, in this case, Kickass products. So what I'll do here, I'll play that for you, and I'll go and grab a quick glass of water, and I'll be right back to talk about more shenanigans, if you like.
Hello there! My name is Benon Julius William Otto Kerbsch, and after many years touring Europe with a rock band as their photographer, I pivoted my skills towards content creation. I'm from Sydney, Australia. I have a YouTube channel called Gives a Minute, and viewers on my channel enjoy a variety of content, including surfing,
Didn't know what to do there. Looked out to my left and just saw a massive wall of water.
whiskey reviews,
And the last time there was a matte black bottle was for the 160th birthday.
call-ins,
Yeah, well, I'm gonna straighten you out. I'm gonna straighten this up for you so you understand what's really going on.
music guessing games,
We are looking for Pinback from the Some Voices EP.
and most notably, my IRL streaming from various Aussie landmarks.
Hey, this is as far back as I can go.
Oh, wow, that was huge. Pretty certain that's all we needed.
Where are you going after Piedmont? We're going back to the hotel.
With that hat on, you look a bit like Bill Burr. Now, I know who Bill Burr is from watching the H3 podcast. Oh, I've got to get out of the way. There's a little peak. Look at that little peaky of light. Oh, that looks rad. Whoopsie! Like an old man trying to return super to Delhi. The Sydney Harbour Bridge, folks. Look at this.
Sunlight's lovely cascading on the side of the bridge.
Last year, I spent 9 months across the ditch in New Zealand, live streaming up mountains, beside lakes, in towns, and always live to my viewers. We call them the givers. And that's a good question, dude. It is 9 minutes past 5 in the PM. It's June 2022.
What time is it in Australia? Well, hang on, I can work that out. Time is the most valuable currency because we only have a certain amount of it. Someone wants to go and play tennis? Ping pong?
Featuring Christopher Cornell before he died.
There goes some people on the way back down.
Good to see you, good to have you, good to know you.
Look at this beautiful lighting here. That looks wonderful.
It was so good, man. Out there in the beautiful New Zealand landscapes, I felt awakened. And being able to share it all live with the rest of the world inspired me despite the odds.
It's gonna be hammering down all night as well. So we're gonna have a lot of snow here. Just a heads up, this is car park 4 where I picked you up from. So this afternoon when you need to come back, tell the driver car park 4 and everything will be good. Cool.
Upon arrival back here in Australia, it dawned on me that I've never been to the spiritual center of this country. It's a place called Uluru, you know, that massive red rock smack dab in the middle of this country. It's often regarded as the most sacred place in this country, and I cannot justifiably call myself an Aussie and never have been there. Humankind has been to the moon to study its geology, to work out where as a species we've come from and where we're going. Native Australians believe that this rock may hold the answer to some of those questions. This is my mate, Martin Blaine Jeremy David Upham. Yes, that is his real name. We're in the process of planning an epic mission to drive my van, GoVan, from Sydney Harbour to Uluru. Now, Google Maps tells me that's a total of about 1,700 miles, about 1.5 days drive, but we plan to take 8 weeks to really explore the journey there and everything around. A childhood friend of mine, Luke Campbell, has been living wild in the Australian outback for the best part of 20 years.
Important when you're catching camels to use extremely strong rope. What we're doing here is preparing the lasso. When you do this, you want your knot about halfway down.
He's part Aboriginal. He's walked across this country multiple times wrangling wild camels and living the nomad life. Just Google him. Google Luke Campbell Camel. That'll get you all the info you need on him. Now, a massive part of our journey is to connect with Luke and have him show us the real Australia. Now, why am I pitching this to you? Well, I want to live stream the bulk of this journey to my YouTube channel. I've done similar in the past with a previous van and 4G internet.
But I'll tell you, like I'm just looking at that in full screen. It's a very cool looking van. So I got 4-wheel high and 4-wheel low.
To play the devil's advocate, wouldn't they know that they were going to get caught? The stream looks better than what the real life looks. That is a big, fat huntsman. Look how long his legs are. Look at that. Oh, he's going down. Oh, he's going down. Look at that. Shit. Everybody's saying Australia sucks right now. If this is tyranny and this is shit, then I can deal with this.
When does soup look like an alien life form?
This time around though, I'd like to add Elon Musk's Starlink satellite mobility connectivity to the mix to ensure that I can live stream from even the most remote locations where 4G doesn't exist. But that's gonna be expensive. Now, if Kickass products would come on board and contribute the cash for the Starlink and our fuel, we could promote you and your product to my viewers via a virtually untapped wealth of content direct from the road. Uniquely Australian content from 3 Aussie cobbers in the outback, all made possible by your contributions. So the figure I've come up with is 8 grand Australian. Now that's about 5K US. That's what I'm asking for, 5K. What do you say? Come with us on the adventure of a lifetime. The time is now. With your support and the technology, we can share this rock with everybody that we live with on this bigger rock we call planet Earth. Either way, folks, thank you for your time. Appreciate you watching my pitch. Have a nice day.
And there you go. That's the Kickass products pitch, and obviously every brand. I just subbed in. Part of the content was to stop and talk about their brand. But yeah, good points Elfsar raised in the chat. Maybe the pitch needed to have your logo here or something. Yeah, and I mean, in hindsight, for sure, there should have been a visual indicator of what it would look like. Ultimately, what I've discovered since, or not what I've discovered, but what's come to light from this process is that I'm not a big enough channel to should never be discouraged to try. I think the live streaming space is a strange beast because there's a few factors really working against me. Number one, I'm an older content creator, so the bigger streamers are younger people, right? Let's be fair. The bigger numbered streamers, and by the way, Elsa, that's why I didn't crop out the numbers. They wanted to see those numbers. But the bigger numbers come from young streamers, younger streamers, younger in youth, right? And they stream gambling. Two old dudes driving around the country looking at kangaroos and shit. Not as exciting as some kid running through a mall and stealing people's coffees, right? I'm no Jake Doherty, right? So I feel like this space that we're in, it doesn't. I'm not saying that it's not possible, and I'm not ruling myself out, but a brand is going to affiliate themselves with someone younger that's doing the current thing, right? Vertical videos, short form videos. That's one of the first things that this Kickass products came back and said, do you do short form vertical videos? I'm like, no, I don't, but I can. Like, I'm not saying I can't do it, but I don't do it. And so maybe if I had have done it, if I had have been able to prove it, or if I had have had a track record of short form vertical video, maybe they would have been like, yeah, we don't want you to do a live stream, but just do here's $8 grand and just do 20 short form vertical videos while you're out there. That would have worked for me. I've had many turn me down due to low numbers. Elsa, so yo, Dugsky, Arrow, hey guys, how you going? I applaud you. Thank you. I'll tell you why I don't. I'll never let my numbers stop me from at least trying something, because way back when, at the beginning of my channel, when I was in the middle of the virality of that first snorkel video I did, the snorkel mask, the one thing wrong with the CV180, when that was popping, I had a channel that didn't even have 1,000 subscribers at that point. I hadn't even hit the 1,000 sub mark. And I managed to leverage the virality of that one video to get me to go to Fiji and Vanuatu on 2 separate occasions and shoot content, all of it paid for. So I went to Fiji and I went to Vanuatu, and I stayed in resorts on 3 resorts in Fiji. Yeah, Savu Savu, Danarau, and the other one. What's the other one called? Can't remember. But then in Vanuatu, I stayed at Hideaway Island. Where's the other place in Vanuatu? It's all on my channel anyway. But the point of it was that I managed to leverage the virality of one video to achieve basically 3 separate, fully paid for holidays. And so I guess that was 5 years ago and I was younger. Maybe that might be a factor as well. I was younger then, but I never let anything stop me from trying. And then you get pleasantly surprised when things happen. People started coming to me saying, we want you to do our snorkel reviews. We got a mask. What does it cost? How can you review it? There was a point there during that snorkel mask period where I had reviews lined up, like separate, and these are all paid reviews. And at the time, my base rate started at $1,000 and it went up from there to make a snorkel mask review. So what I'm illustrating is you can always try for something, and if you get knocked back like I have been now, it's not you, it's them. Can I say that? It's not you, it's them. Because I already knew and I already know that I'm going to make this thing rad, right? This thing's going to happen and it's going to be great, like New Zealand was. It's going to be great. We're getting, each step we take, we're getting closer to this something pretty rad, right? So I already knew that before that I even approached anyone. And having a brand come on board would just be the icing on the cake and make it a little bit easier to achieve. But it's still achievable. I've managed to I got this job last year, or a year and a half ago now, and I've worked every time they've asked, and I'm working tomorrow starting at 4:30 a.m. I'm not afraid to put it in and go hard to make something happen. So yeah, that's what I wanted to update you with today on this stream, that this will be the last time that I'll talk about these pictures. I'll probably remove the pictures from, they're unlisted on my YouTube channel. I mean, no one's got these links anyway. So all these unlisted pictures, they're just sitting there. I might leave the H3. You know what? I'll do this on stream so you guys can see it as well. Check this out. Select that one. Select that one. Select that one. That's okay. So 5 Hour Energy, Adventure Kings, Aerogard, Feastables, G Fuel, Kickass, Kick, Mitch Dowd, On Running, Red Bull, REI, Snowies, Starlink, Tourism NT. Okay, that's all of them. Actions, edit. Is it edit? Nope. Actions, more actions. Delete forever. 14 videos are about to be deleted. I understand that deleting is permanent and can't be undone. If you want to delete my videos, click this button. Delete forever. Done. And so, but I will leave this one here, the pitch to H3, maybe that'll go up. Maybe at some point they might watch it again and go, oh, that's pretty funny. We should have done something with that guy. I don't know, but I'm going to leave that there. But that's, yeah. So that concludes the concept of the pitch. Thank you everybody who helped me out to get to this point where we managed to put something together for these companies. So I appreciate you. It's happening. We're moving into the next stage. Marty, well, I was going to say something else about Marty. What was it? No, can't remember what it was. But yeah, well, look, at this stage, I'll say ta-ta. I want to thank you all for being here. on the stream. Appreciate all of your support up to this point. And that's what I was going to say. We might push it back. Originally, or the plan has been late August, but I'm flexible. And if Marty says to me, I can do it, but I can't do it late August, I can only do it like mid-September or something, then we'll have to renegotiate. But at this stage, late August, unless things change. Thanks everybody for being here. I've got to go to bed and get up super early to go to work to pay for this. Actually, I already paid for this guy, but there's been other things that have happened. Namely, my van needed some repairs, brake calipers, $1,300. What the hell? Get out of here. Cheers, guys. Take care. Get him out of there.